As you know, over the last couple of weeks, we have been living some strange times trying to adhere to the safer at home order in Wisconsin, which is for over an additional month. And it seems that everybody out there is trying to balance the need to be safe with the need to get the economy going and get our lives going again at the same time. And of course, in charge of enforcing that for Kenosha County, at least in the county areas, is Kenosha County Sheriff David Beth. So I have him on the phone and I wanted to bring him on the line. Sheriff, are you there? Try that one more time. I think I'll be able to hear you.
Hi, Ralph. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine now.
All right.
I'll tell you, operating this little board here at a radio station is like operating a spaceship that you've never flown before. And I've got Jim Selovich, who's been doing this for 30 years, quarantining at home, making sure that he keeps himself safe. Obviously, some of us have more reasons than others for having to stay home, so that's the safest place for him to be. But it's the most dangerous place for me to be in front of all these buttons.
Well, Jim is a good backup to have for anything you want to do, and I'm glad he's taking care of us in the background, and it's a pleasure to talk to you today.
So it must be a strange time from a law enforcement perspective as well, I'm guessing.
Oh, my God, the last, I don't even know what it is, 5-6 weeks has been, it's something different every day. It changes every day, and you really can't anticipate what tomorrow is going to bring. You have to plan for the worst. And at first, we weren't really doing that. We were planning for changes. We were planning for what if. And then it's like you start up with a little snowball, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And we got a huge snowball going down the hill right now. So, yeah, it's something different every day, and it's interesting to say the least.
What are some of the challenges that you're seeing now that you haven't seen as much of before?
Well, the big thing that has affected us this last week, and I think it was Thursday, Wednesday, something like that, I declared an emergency for staffing levels at our sheriff's department. And we had people for about the last 4 weeks who have been sick, and we actually think a few of them had the COVID-19, but there weren't enough tests around, and they never even got tested. They were just quarantined at home. And the county health department, the county human resources department, county admin, we're all erring on the side of safety. And if anyone comes into the building or calls in and says, "Hey, I got a fever, I got a cough that just started, I got all the symptoms that are on the list," we tell them to stay home until we can figure out should they be there or shouldn't they. So they start off with a 14-day quarantine. And some people have been released. They talk to the doctor, whether it be their own doctor or the virtual online doctor. And some have already come back. The one that I think a month ago had it, he's back to work already. And we've gone from that one person out to, I think today we've got about 40 people out of the sheriff's department on quarantine with symptoms ranging from a scratchy throat to, last I heard on Friday was, I think we had 7 positive people at the sheriff's department.
Seven positive employees of the sheriff's department.
Yeah, we got 7. And again, our health department, if someone comes in and just says, "I just don't feel right today," they're sending them home. I give them credit. It's a scheduling nightmare for us, but we're hoping to keep other staff from getting sick, and that's the ultimate goal here in keeping our inmates and still servicing the public with the deputies on the road. And when I declared an emergency last week, what we did, and the scheduling started today, I took all of my sworn, all the deputies, the deputy officers, the sergeants, lieutenants. I took the detectives, our drug unit. Everybody has been placed on a new schedule that we've never had here before. We copied other agencies, and it's a 12-hour work schedule. You work for 6 days in a row, you're off completely for 12, and that builds in a quarantine period. Catch something while you're working, you hopefully get rid of it in those 12 days, and then there's another 6 days that you're home, but you're on call. You have to be able to report from home within an hour, and everybody's got a take-home car so they can report to if we got a serious accident. So we've got deputies on the road. We'll have them in the courts Monday through Friday. But a lot of where we're missing people right now, it's in our detention center. And I'm trying to think, it's like 20 people of our 40 are DSOs, direct supervision officers at our detention center, and we're cutting it close. I know they just closed another dorm. We told our deputies that you may have to go in and work in the jail because we're shorthanded in the jail. So everybody's kind of all hands on deck on this one.
Yeah, I can imagine that it would be all of the jobs in a department that people earn over time that are maybe a little less street heavy, but also less essential. I imagine that in times like this, it is all hands on deck, and you have people on the road that haven't been on the road in a long time, and so on and so forth. Would that be an accurate statement?
Oh, absolutely. I've got people, and I don't want to say they're terrified, but we've got new computer systems. We've got writing citations. It's all done on a computer now. And there's a lot of us that have been around for a while, have been off the road. We've never written a citation on the computer. We've never written a report on the computer as far as what the deputies on the road do.
Yeah, they're going through their briefcase trying to find those old 3-part carbons, and they're not there anymore, right?
That's exactly it. You're exactly right. And I asked them, I said, can we still do this? And our computer people are like, no, you have to do it. You have to do it on the computer. You have to do it in New World. You have to do it on tracks. You have to do all this stuff. I'm like, oh, man. So we've got deputies and detectives that have not done this for a while that are nervous. They're going to do a great job. I'm not worried about that part, but they're nervous about the new technology that's there. So
sure, from a community policing standpoint and dealing with the public, human psychology doesn't change. But now it's kind of like me today behind this board here, pushing a bunch of buttons I've never pushed before, and it's scary to even somebody who's I'm on the tech savvy side a little bit more than most. But this is a piece of equipment that prior to 4 weeks ago I never touched in my life, and every little mistake, every little delay is heard on live radio. So there are no do-overs, and that's the same thing when you're a cop on the street. There are no do-overs with that stuff. But the writing, the paperwork part, you get a do-over on that at least.
They know what to do. Everyone out there is really good. The people who got promoted are detectives that haven't done this well. I mean, they're the ones that follow up and do everything after our deputies, and they get stuck. So they know what to do. It's just actually getting into the computer, kind of like what you're struggling with. Maybe we can get Jim out there to help back us up, and we can have him on call. But that's what we're doing right now. Today was our very first day. It started at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it goes till 6 o'clock at night, and then the second 12-hour shift starts. This should have started a little while ago. They should be 2 hours into it.
Well, those sound like the type of shifts that I was a law enforcement specialist in the Air Force, and it was a long time ago now, so long ago that now my son's in the military. But I remember working 12 when you had wartime exercises, or any time we were in a higher threat com level or something like that. You would go from working an 8-hour shift in a normal rotation to 12-hour shifts, but your rotations would be shorter for whatever reason, or you'd work an extended period of time and then have an extended period of time off. So it does take some adjustment. Suddenly you're working a different schedule. Your sleep schedule might change as you go from working second shift to working 6 at night to 6 in the morning, which is an even longer shift. So there's a lot of challenges, and I feel for you and your guys that are. But it makes a lot of sense to do the things that you're doing. I imagine the jails are probably a little emptier. You have people that don't need to be there out if they can be at home or on some sort of house arrest or home confinement. How does that work?
Well, if you want to go back to 6 weeks ago, we had about 850 people in our jail. And when this whole thing started, we met with all the leaders of county government, county HR, and also my command staff. And we sat and we talked about, okay, we have to limit the people that come into our jail. And we told immigration, we told U.S. Marshals, probation, state probation and parole, our agencies within the county, our law enforcement agencies. And we told them, limit who comes in. For marshals and immigration, the detainees, we said no more new people until this whole thing gets sorted out. Immigration didn't really like that. And they said, well, if you don't take, and we would get people right off the plane from other countries, and they would put them in our jail. I said, we're not going to do this. And they said, well, if you're not going to do it, we're going to pull out our people. We said, okay, if that's really the route you want to take, that's fine. And they did. And they took 170 detainees out within 36 hours of us saying we're not going to take them. And it really was a godsend to us, because what that did is it freed up blocks for us so we could actually, as new inmates came in from, you have someone that you have to put in jail, they're felons, and we put them in the jail. We can quarantine them for 14 days in open cell blocks. And then we work with the judges, and judges says if anyone in your jail has a bond of $500 or less, we'll reduce that to a signature bond. And we also took our Hubers and anyone else. We went through all the people that were left in the jail and said, okay, who is not a risk to society and minor crimes? And we put them on electronic monitoring, and we've reduced. Again, 6 weeks ago, we were 850. We're about 425, about half of what we were 6 weeks ago in our jail. And so that has helped us create open space, spread people out for quarantines. And our staff has been really doing a fantastic job, whether it be in the jail, making this work, and really all of our sworn with what we're doing right now, too. There's been really no complaining. Everybody realized this is a different time, and I couldn't be any more proud of the staff. I don't care what department you're in on ours. We have about 400 employees at the Sheriff's Department, and every one of them has done exactly what's been asked of them with really no complaints.
Well, that's pretty remarkable. I imagine the jail must almost be a scarier place to be right now than the road as far as being afraid of contracting the virus, because you're in close quarters with people for more extended periods of time. And then I'll bet the second highest risk is having to go into a home on a domestic or something like that. Are you seeing different types of calls come in than normal, more domestic or more calls that are related to people being stuck at home and getting fed up with each other?
Well, that's what we thought we were going to see. And to tell you the truth, our calls for service have gone down since this started. Our calls have gone down about a third since people have been staying home, less accidents, less traffic on the road. So that has helped us too. That has helped us to manage different shortfalls or possibly what's coming down the road for us. So things are working out in our favor.
That's very encouraging to hear, and it says something positive about, I don't think just our community, but I think the community at large, that even though people are angry, even though people are second guessing how long and how severe these quarantines are, and myself, I'm one of them. I question things. I comply, but I question. And I think that's important. I think most people that are questioning are also being compliant, even though they are questioning. And that's what makes America so great. And any other country, as soon as there's a discourse, they feel like they have to smack them down and shut them up. But really, I think some of the conversation, some of the questioning will help guide those decisions so they're not completely unilateral all the way through. But while we're questioning it, I've noticed that people are kinder to each other in general, and they seem to be looking out for one another. Yeah,
I agree. When the few trips I've made to the store to pick up the groceries for the week, have to make a few runs to do something, people are there. Everybody's kind of keeping their distance when you go into the store. I go in at odd hours, so it's definitely not busy. But everyone keeps their space. They are polite, and we've had a few calls where people have said, "Hey, there's at the dog park, there's 20 people sitting at a picnic table talking, and so we sent a deputy over there. We said, hey, you're not supposed to be grouping up, and it's not a lot. We've not received a lot of phone calls, but people have been very cooperative, and we've had zero issues.
And people are improvising, and I'm glad to see that that's allowed to happen, at least here in Kenosha County, Wisconsin. Last week, I covered a story where a mayor sent his police force out to a church having a drive-in church service to start citing everybody who pulled up $500 a piece just for pulling into a parking lot. And I'm looking around, and I'm thinking about all the places that cars are congregating anyway when there isn't a church service going on, such as in Kenosha, the Big Star, or at a grocery store or at a liquor store. And it seemed a little draconian to me to see that going on. And even though this got extended longer in Kenosha, I don't feel as though people are being told what they can and can't do completely. There's a group of moms that I noticed that parked in a parking lot in an undisclosed location, and they would kind of caravan their cars in a circle and sit on their tailgates a safe distance apart, probably just to have some human interaction, and yet still stay safely apart. I've got the show here. I have less guests and less people working in here. I have a musical guest about 6 feet from me today. So I think people are finding ways, and if they're allowed to use their own common sense, I think people generally do. And it's good to see that local government is cooperating with people and letting people make some of their own decisions, because I think when people feel like they can't be trusted with their own decisions, that's when they start to go off the rails a little bit.
Well, I agree with you. And we live across the street from Brightondale Golf Course, and we walk over there, we ride our bikes, we've taken a drive through there just to see what's going on. And just the other day, we went in and there were 3 cars in one of the parking lots. Everybody was up like about 20 feet apart, and there were 3 people sitting on the tailgate, like you just said. They had they were the SUVs, had the back things, and they're talking. And I thought, what a great way to go see your friends. And we've been one thing that we've been doing is Zooming each other, and I don't know how to do it, but my family sets it up, and we actually have seen our family, my wife's family, who are scattered throughout the country, more the last 4 or 5 weeks than, I mean, not face to face, but on the Zoom, than we have in years. And it's been really kind of nice.
Isn't that crazy? We're doing the same thing in our family. We're having Facebook video calls and Zoom calls, and our kids are having Zoom calls with other kids. And I've been using this technology for work for a while because we have people all over the country that we collaborate with. But I've never used it in a social setting until now. And it's not the same as person-to-person interaction, but that is the strange benefit, is that suddenly we're interacting with people that we normally don't get the chance to from further away because life has slowed down so much. And there is a blessing to having life slow down a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm going to take it even further. I mean, here, our kids, I've got a daughter who's a senior at Central High School and a son who's a sophomore at Central. And we would run from wrestling to tennis to softball, and every night you're running and running and running. And
I'm raising my 4th wrestler, so I feel your pain.
But this last month or so, since the school's been closed, every person has a night to make dinner. My son, he lucked out. He got leftover chicken and some rice-a-roni and something else for some leftovers from last night. He made dinner with that. My wife did it last night. We went out fishing today. We have a little pond behind our house. We went out fishing today. My daughter and son went for a bike ride down the driveway over to Brightondale. And my son helped me do a few things back at our horse farm today. So we're doing things with the family that we've done, but every day we're doing something. Every day we're playing a game. We did Wii bowling. We did tennis. And I found out that I really stink at Wii bowling. And my kids and wife crush me every time. So all these different things that we later or before because of time, that part I'm really enjoying. The being with them and seeing them, and I'm loving that part. And I'm fortunate. I'm still considered essential, even though maybe my employees don't think I am. I'm still considered essential. I still get paid. I understand that there are people out there that are not getting paid, and this is a terrible situation for them, and I understand that part too.
There's definitely going to be some financial devastations here, and I hope that other people are able to look at their blessings in the face of financial devastation, and face whatever comes next, not with fear, but with gratitude for what they didn't lose, so they can rebuild the things that they did lose, because it certainly isn't easy for people out there. And I'm married to a school teacher, so same thing. She's still getting paid. That's a wonderful thing. I'm in real estate, so that all depends on whether or not somebody's going to buy something or not this week, of course. But it's definitely a time to pull together. We're frequenting as many local businesses that are doing curbside pickup or delivery as possible throughout the week, because these are our friends that own these businesses and in the community, and we hate to see them suffer, and we want to do the best that we can for them as well.
Yep, I agree with you. We've done a few of those, and usually during the sports season, which I know you understand, it's stopping at McDonald's, it's stopping at the Burger King, or after a meet or a tournament, you run to out here, maybe, one of the restaurants. And it's a little bit slower for us now, and we haven't been hitting as much, but we are still going and hitting some of the places, and that part's been good. It's amazing how when you don't do it for a month, when you don't go to a restaurant for a month and actually sit there and have people wait on you, you miss that. You miss just not having to do the dishes after you get done or going to pick it up. You just go and sit and leave. Yeah,
the best you can do now is bring home a pizza and put it on paper plates, because otherwise you're doing. I've never done so many dishes in my life, and I haven't done much compared to my wife and kids, but still. And then you find your concentration has changed, or everybody being at home makes it harder to concentrate and finish things, because the only thing I've been able to finish at home is a meal.
Oh, we have been, no. The kind of nice thing is they're all helping me. And again, I live on a farm, and we have horses, and we have to go feed them twice a day. And the kids are normally they don't help me that much. They're getting ready, they're doing homework, they're heading out in the evening, or they're getting ready for school. So I'm up at 4:30 in the morning going and taking care of everything. And now they're helping me, and they're doing it. My son was out helping fix some things and take a fence down and fix a tree that came down. They're all helping do stuff. So in my world, my family is helping much more, and kind of watching them do stuff here has been, I've loved it. I've loved that part of the last 4 weeks. The fact that my oldest one, this is her senior year, she's missing softball. She's missing, prom and the different parts that go along with your senior year, all that excitement. But being selfish, she's going to be leaving next fall for going to UW La Crosse. I get this last month for that part has been pretty special.
Yeah, that's got to be difficult for the senior. I have a senior in high school as well, and I have no idea what they're going to do graduation-wise or anything like that. But it seems that all the high school drama things that are so important seem so much less important even to them when we're worried about our world at large. And overall, this could be a net positive, I think, for our communities and for our country if we all remember what we went through here together, and we take that with us after this crisis has ended.
This is going to be life-changing for all of us. This is going to make us rethink how we do business, how we keep in touch with our families. I'm hoping, even this Zoom that we do, hopefully we keep that going with our families and our friends. Hopefully our friends we can see more often and have the backyard campfires and do things like that. But even, maybe we won't live so much the day by day in the running. I mean, I know you're exactly the same way with two very active kids, and my third one is 32 years old with a grandchild. All you do is run every single day. They do it and this is giving us a chance to kind of take back something that we lost years ago. My wife has gone through photo albums and brought up things the kids did when they were small, and you forget about that stuff, and it's given us a chance to kind of relive part of it. But it's going to be interesting to think how our kids, our seniors right now, are going to look back at this 10 years from now and think about how their high school career ended. And I wonder exactly how that's going to change how they think of things.
I think these are stories that our kids are going to tell our grandkids the way our grandparents talked to us about the Great Depression. I really do.
I think you're right.
I really think that this is going to have such a, my children, I have 6 of them, range from 3 years old to 21 years old, from being a toddler to being in the Navy. And I can't imagine anything ever having a greater impact on lives all the way around. Even 9/11, 3,000 people died in a matter of hours, in a matter of days. And that was a horrible thing, and it changed the entire mood of our country. But not nearly as many people were personally affected, had their lives personally disrupted for as long of an amount of time. And not nearly as many people died as are dying from this. And not nearly as many people were affected financially as are being affected by this. And it's hard to say what the future holds. A lot of the economists predicted that this was the catalyst for a bubble to burst anyway. We'll have to see if they're right. But regardless, I can't see anything having a more profound impact on life as we know it. And for generations, the story will be told, and we can only pray that we take the positive out of this and make life and our culture and our society a better place for it when we're done.
Yep, I couldn't agree with you more. Hopefully that is the things to remember. I'm sure it depends on, for me, what I'll probably remember 5 years down the road after I retire, that all the hard work and what everybody did in my department to make things function and to make sure that we were protecting our community and guarding our inmates, doing everything we're supposed to do. They're doing it. And I'll remember how close our family is during this time. And it's not just watching them on a tennis court or a softball field. It's actually being with them and going for the bike ride and doing all the things you had children for, and you're doing it with them again. So this is, hopefully these are the memories I'll carry with me 5 years from now, and all the headaches that go into it, those will kind of pass to the side, and we'll see. I guess we'll see in 5 years or so.
Well, Sheriff, thank you so much for weighing in on this. I know that you have a very busy schedule here doing all this, and we appreciate everything you do for our community, and hope to have you on again soon.
Yeah, anytime, Ralph. Thank you, and you have a great week.
Thank you. Again, that is Kenosha